All right, good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and become aware of the breath. Let's practice a three-part breath. So in this three-part breath, let's first bring awareness to the energy that's in the belly of the body. And as you inhale, encourage the breath to begin very low in your stomach, maybe even seeing as the breath fills, it expands out to the sides of the body, it presses into the stomach and pushes down into the low back. Then allow that breath to rise up through your ribs, up to your heart, and maybe even just feeling it stop just at the throat, soften your neck and the muscles in your face. As you exhale, relax your heart, relax the ribs, then relax the belly. So taking the breath in three parts, we inhale down into the belly, then to the ribs, then up to the heart. Exhale, relax the heart, relax the belly, relax the ribs. So we can always add into this mindful breathing by counting the breath. And as we inhale, we may count 1, 2, 3, breath rising up into the heart. And then as we exhale, we can count back 3, 2, 1, softening the belly. We could always count a little bit faster, or we could count a little bit slower. Let's practice this a couple more breaths, counting the breath. And notice if the breath is seamless. Notice if there are any gaps in the breath. There may be moments where the energy might want to still itself or might want to pause for a moment. Let's take a moment to establish our intention moving into the practice, letting go of any competition, any expectation, any judgment with our bodies, with our thought processes, with our energy levels. As we commit to the practice today, we're breathing, feeling, listening to the body, reminding ourselves as long as we're breathing, we're doing yoga. Allowing ourselves to acknowledge any physical sensations and any emotions that might arise during the practice. Staying curious, watching those sensations, watching those emotions. Listening to the body, moving towards comfort today. If we ever notice that anything is uncomfortable, take a moment and notice if those sensations are something we might want to work through, or if it is the body speaking to us, telling us to maybe back off a little bit. Now, if you're in a seated position, I'd like to invite you to lie down onto your back with your knees bent as we begin our warm up for the hips and the legs. We might want to use a pillow under the head or neck. Let's hug the knees in towards the chest and go ahead and rock a little bit side to side. Notice if there's any tenderness in the low back, any tenderness in the ribs or the shoulders, just making a note of those places that maybe deserve just a little bit more tender, loving care today. Let's find a still point for the body. Lift the legs up towards the sky. We could always keep the hands on the sides of the thighs or maybe put the hands down on the floor. Let's roll out the ankles. Switching directions, pointing and flexing the feet, wiggling the toes. From here, let's bend our knees. See the knees at hips width and lower the feet down to the floor flat. As we inhale, let's bring the arms up and overhead and roll out the wrist. Wiggle the fingers. When you're ready, lower the hands down to the floor, palms down just outside the hips. As we inhale, let's lift the hips towards the sky. Exhale, slowly lower the hips, bridge flow. Let's keep this rhythm to gently activate the muscles through the legs, the core. Very gentle weight bearing into the soles of the feet. Looking straight up towards the sky, maybe closing the eyes, keeping the head and neck neutral. Watch for the breath when it's time to inhale, initiating that lift of the hips. Notice when the exhale, when the breath reveals itself again, and slowly begin to lower down. Let's do a few more. Maybe just one more lift, one more lower. Let's meet with our hips on the ground. Walk the toes into touching. Take the arms out to the side, palms down, stabilizing the upper spine, head and neck. As we exhale, let's sway our knees over to the right. Healing up that left hip. You might even push into your feet and lift the hip and the trunk of the body just a little more. Inhale slowly through center. On your exhale, twist over to the left. Push into your feet. Lift that right hip just a little more away from the floor, a little bit more trunk rotation. On an inhale, bring it through center. Exhale, sway to the right, maybe moving a little faster. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale through center. Exhale, twist. You can always keep this rhythmic rotation with your breath or pause at any time and allow yourself to be aware of the sensations in the body from a still place. So if you notice that one side feels a little tight, you might want to hold it on that side just a little longer. Maybe just hold it 3 breaths. Let's sway at least a couple more times. Give your body maybe the next 3 to 5 breaths to eventually even this out for yourself. When it feels right for you, let's come to center. Hug the knees to the chest once more. Let's center the energy in the low back and the hips. From here, let's lower our feet down. Roll to whatever side feels most natural for you. Let's lie on our sides for just 3 to 5 breaths. Pull the knees in close to the body. curled up into a sleeping child's pose. We might even tuck the chin in, lower the head, feel the breath rolling up and down the sides of the spine, rolling along the back sides of the lungs. Let's think about how we might want to make our way up to all fours. We could always use the top hand, pressing it down into the floor in front of us. Let your body come forward slightly, looking down at the floor, eventually using both hands to come up, and then taking our time to come around into all fours position. From here, let's press the hips back towards our heels, finding any expression of child's pose. We could always open the knees really wide with the toes touching. Sometimes this is nice, takes away pressure off the abdomen and allows the ribs to kind of sway between the thighs. Sometimes it does feel good to keep the knees together and to give a little bit of compression to the abdomen. This can have an effect of detoxifying or flushing out excessive fluid and stress hormones. You have plenty of time to experiment with these expressions of child's pose. So once you find that there's comfortable in the abdomen and the hips, you might want to reach the hands in front of the body. We can always take the hands in front of us and rest the head. Or the hands can even go behind us, palms up. Let's stay here just a couple more easy breaths. Again, breathing along the sides of the spine and just allowing the backs of the lungs to open and to be without tension, to be without stress or pressure or resistance. Noticing that the breath moves freely into the back sides of the lungs and alongside the spine. One more easy breath like this. When you're ready, let's shift our weight forward, finding all fours for cat and cow flow. As we inhale, let's drop our belly, let the hips flip back, and look forward. Open the throat just a little bit. Exhale, pull the belly up, drop the head, pull the tailbone down and under, deeply contracting the stomach and the abdomen. On the inhale, allow the spine to lengthen, the front of the lungs are stretching. And exhale, contract the body, round the spine. Let's do just a few more of these. Matching movement to breath. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Keeping in mind at any time, if this feels uncomfortable on your hands, your knees, or feet, this can be done from seated. Inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Let's do one more of each. Absolutely no rush. When you're ready, find neutral spine. And let's invite just a little bit of rotation into the practice today. So you could do a seated twist, or from all fours, lift your right arm. Inhale, open up, and then exhale, look to the left and bring the hand under the left armpit, looking over the left shoulder. Inhale, come up. Exhale, plant the hands. Let's do that on the other side. Inhale, look to the left and lift the left arm. Exhale, thread the needle on the right. Look to the right. support the head and the neck. Inhale to center. Exhale, relax. Let's do this a few more times. Inhale, open to the right. Exhale, thread the needle, twist left. Inhale, center. Exhale, plant the hands. Switching sides. Inhale, open left. Exhale, thread the needle, twist right. Inhaling, center. Exhale, both hands for support. Do one more on each side. Again, follow your own breath. This sequence is uniquely flowing with your own personal breath. As you finish that sequence on left and right, reset the hips, reset the knees and back. Let's press the hips towards the heels and walk our hands forward. Take a moment and check in as to where the body might want to go from here. We can keep the elbows on the floor and maybe lace the fingertips or place the hands down and lift the elbows. No matter where we are, let's tuck the tailbone under, tuck the toes under, lifting our hips towards the sky. Take the weight back into the feet just a little bit, then relax your head and neck. Let's shake the head yes. Turn it left and right. We could be on the elbows and forearms here in dolphin pose. Or we could be in downward facing dog. Let's continue to lift through the heels, maybe even resisting the urge to drop back into the soles of the feet. So the energy is up on the balls of the feet. The hips are pulling up towards the sky, and we're actively pressing into the earth through the palms of the hands or the elbows. Breathe from the throat, a ha breath. Big inhale. Exhale, ha. Like a sigh of relief. Let's try two more. When you're ready, take your time walking the feet towards the hands. And let's hang loose for a moment in a standing forward fold. We could always give the spine support by placing the hands on the shins. We could even put the elbows or the hands on the thighs, head higher than the heart, so that blood pressure is a little more stable here. Once we find that comfortable place for the body and blood pressure, allow the hips to sway left and right. So we're just noticing any subtle shifts in sensation or shifts in our balance as we sway the hips. Let's find a still point, and taking our time, we'll slowly come up to standing, walking the hands up the body, stopping and pausing at any point along the way to standing. When you're ready, find mountain pose, rolling the shoulders back and down. And now that we're standing, let's take a moment and just look at the space that we're working in. We might want to reposition our yoga mat. If you've had pillows or blankets that you might want to use later, let's get everything situated. With our space open, establishing hips width with our feet, shoulders are rolled down and back. Let's inhale, sweeping the arms overhead. Exhale, sweeping the arms back and down. Let's keep flying arms for a few more breaths. Option to close the eyes, soaking up the breath Big inhale. Exhale, let it all go. Inhaling through the nose when possible. Exhaling from the throat. Maybe keep the lips together. Exhaling as if you're going to fog a mirror, but keep the lips touching. This way the heat stays in the body and the moisture stays in the body as well. Sometimes we refer to this as the Darth Vader breath or a scuba diver breath. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling from the throat with that sensation, sealing in the energy of that ha breath, ujjayi breath. Listen for the quality of the breath on that exhale. Let's do 2 more. Let's meet with our hands at the heart. Stepping the left foot back, a casual stride. Let's bend the right knee a little bit. Circle sweep the arms overhead. Warrior 1, big inhale. Let's pat ourselves on the back with our right hand. Take the left hand down and around to your low back. Cow's face arms with Warrior 1. Pause for a moment. Notice the foundation in the feet. Let's web out our toes. We could even rock forward and back a little bit. Give the body a little bit of time to sense for the most centered place. Where do we feel the most grounded, the safest in our posture today? Eventually establishing that still point. Anchor down through that back left heel. Feel the energy still moving forward and up towards the sky. Option to close the eyes. Reminding ourselves it really is natural for the body to sway or maybe to get a little uncertain when we close the eyes. So we might feel a little bit wobbly. Feel your way through the practice. One more breath here. When you're ready, take the right hand up, circle the arm back and around. We can lace the fingers, maybe keep the hands by the back or even put the hands on the hips. Standing chest expansion, big inhale around the heart. Bow out the chest, pull the shoulders back, maybe even act surprised. 1, 2, 3. Notice with that surprised breath, the initiation of a lift in the upper spine, strengthening the core behind the heart. Open the throat just a little bit. Let's continue to lunge forward and press back. Exaggerate the inhale. Exhale with ease. 2 more exaggerated inhales. Exhale, inhaling through the nose. Let's release our hands. Inhale, arms straight up overhead, traditional Warrior 1. Exhale, swan dive, hands onto the right thigh. Let's straighten our right leg. Check in with your low back and hips. You might want to flip the hips back and then pull them forward, a little bit like cat and cow with the hips. So push back, contract the belly. Let's feel for that place where the back feels more comfortable, where we feel that there's a lot of room in the spine. As you exhale, you can hold it here or walk the hands down your right leg towards the floor. Let's relax the head and neck. Think about pressing back into the left foot while the head and the neck move forward and down. Hips are pulling up towards the sky. finding all of the opposing energies that come together and create equanimity in the body. Exhale from the throat. Allow the breath to pull out or to pull away from the body any tension, any negative energy, any extra thoughts that we just don't need right now. Let it go with the breath. To safely come up, let's find where the feet are, find the hands. Slowly come up halfway and pause. Pausing at that halfway point. Let's walk the hands up onto the thigh and flatten the back where we are. Keeping our left hand on the right leg, let's bring our right knuckles to the low back. And as you inhale, slowly begin to twist towards the right, pulling that right shoulder back and turning to look over the right shoulder. Holding it here, the breath gets a little shallow. That's pretty natural, keeping the breath in the upper chest region. Keeping the belly soft so we're able to twist it. One more easy breath. Exhale, bring it to center, slowly unwinding the spine. Let's come up, hands to the hips for support, and step forward with that left foot, establishing mountain pose. 3 flying breaths to center the body. Maybe close the eyes. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale back. A couple more. Notice the quality of the breath. Maybe keep the flying arms or add in a chair flow. Inhale up. Exhale, arms down. Option to sit the hips back. Inhale, arms coming up. Option to stand tall. Exhale, arms only, or sit the hips back. Chair flow, Utkatasana. Maybe just one more. When you're ready, let's all meet in traditional mountain pose. We'll give the body a moment to establish a centered and grounded sensation, closing the eyes. Notice if the body leans a little bit to the left or the right. Is the body leaning forward or back? Establish a centered point in the body. So we may start to feel that we can almost orbit around this center of gravity. You can even allow your body to circle it a little bit to discover where is that centered point. Sometimes we don't know that we're off center until we explore the space around us and introduce some new sensations. And that helps us to realize, oh yes, I do feel better here or there. Let's find that centered place as we come to our sequence. Inhaling the arms up and overhead. Taking the right foot back a short stride for traditional warrior one. Bending the left knee. Let's find the opposing energies here. Pressing back into the right heel, lunging forward, pushing down into the soles of the feet, reaching up through the fingertips. Pressing down into the inner blades of the feet, maybe even imagining the yoga block or a yoga block between the thighs, and then feel the ribs expanding out with the inhale. When you're ready, pat yourself on the back with the left hand. And we'll take the right hand down to the low back. Cow's face arms with our warrior one stance. Pressing down and back through the right foot, opening up and back through the left elbow. Again, we could always close the eyes, shift forward and back a little bit. Center can change at any time based on adaptation. At any time, our center can change. So move with what you feel is natural for you today. Letting go of any thought or judgment as to what is normal in the practice, what is right, what is wrong. Go with what feels right for you in each moment and in each breath. That could change. When you're ready, release the left hand to the low back or to the hips. 3 exaggerated inhales around the heart, expanding breath, big inhale. Lift the ribs, relax the throat, open the throat a little bit, big inhale. One more. Let's come to center, spread out the fingertips, inhale, sweeping the arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive hands onto the left thigh. Let's practice that little bit of a cat and cow movement in the hips here. Flipping the hips back, pulling the hips forward. Keeping the knees soft. The left leg is a little more straight now. Let's find neutral spine as we inhale. Exhale, let's walk our hands down towards the floor. If you have a yoga block or a prop you'd like to use, or even a chair, that could be nice right here. No matter where we are, let's hang the head and the neck loose. Feeling as if we're relaxing the back of the neck. Shake the head yes and turn it left and right. Practice exhaling from the throat with the mouth open, maybe even an audible ha breath. Inhale through the nose. Ha. 2 more. Ha. Stay here a little longer if you're noticing that this is releasing your spine, or if it's inviting just some new sensations that feel good to you. Stay here. Otherwise, come up about halfway or less than halfway. Stabilizing our blood pressure, giving our body time also to adapt and to stay balanced. Let's walk our hands up onto the left thigh, keeping the head higher than the heart. The heart is higher than the hips. Keep your right hand on the left thigh. Let's take the left hand to the low back. As we inhale, very small twist towards the left, very gentle. Looking over our left shoulder. Continue to press down into the inner blades of the feet. Pull the muscles up in the pelvic floor, creating core support through the pelvis, through the low back and the hips. Think about where the dimples are in your low back. Dimples in your low back. Think about where they are. Think about pulling those muscles in towards each other while the muscles pull up in the pelvis. You could always act surprised. That helps to initiate that energetic lift through the body. Holding it here, easy breath, shallow breath, easy breath. When you're ready, come to center. Let's walk our hands in and up. Anchor the energy on the hips. From here, stepping forward, Let's establish our strong mountain base, flowing the arms with the breath. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, back and around. So we did this last time. We can keep the hands flowing or add in the hips on the exhale, sitting back into a chair flow. Option to close the eyes. Let's do a few more of these than before, and we can experiment a little more. So again, maybe it's just the arms. Maybe it's the hips back behind us. Maybe we add in a gentle twist. So it could be over to one side while we sit the hips back and look over in the direction of the twist. Inhale, arms up. Option for traditional chair, or slowly sit the hips back and twist to one side. Notice the amount of effort that you're putting into this, and maybe anticipate where would your maximum effort be in this. Just anticipate it and only do a third of that, a third of your maximum effort. Let's do one more to each side. Give the body time to feel that this is evened out. Take your time. When you're ready, let's find mountain pose again. Establish some stillness. And maybe just for today, even if you still feel like moving, be still. Where does that energy go when we don't move? What are the thoughts that maybe accompany the impulse to move? And can we notice the sensation? Can we notice the thoughts and let them go with your breath? If the thoughts come back, if the impulse comes back, take a breath in with the awareness of the thoughts and the sensations. Let it go, even if for a moment. Let's try that just one or two more times. Inhaling with the awareness of sensation, the awareness of possible thought, with no resistance, and then letting it go. Let's move into our standing balancing pose today. It is a head to knee pose. From here, let's step onto one foot and lift your other leg. We might want to put the hands under the thigh. If we're close to a wall or a chair or any means of support, I recommend having your inside leg, so for me, it's my left leg, having a hand on some sort of support, and then lifting the knee, bringing the right hand under the opposite leg, and maybe we straighten that leg or keep the knee bent. At any time, we may want to twist just a little bit in the direction of our support. So I'm twisting towards the left with my left leg extended. Right leg is the pillar of strength. Right arm is supporting the twist as I reach across the body. The breath is a little bit shallow. Naturally, as we're in a twist, the breath is going to stay a little bit more around the heart. When you're ready, slowly come around to neutral. Let's allow the leg to come down to the floor. Step to both feet. At your leisure, switching sides. This time standing on the left leg, lifting the right. Left hand under the right leg, and we can extend the leg or keep it relaxed. You can always lean back a little bit based on our center of gravity. As we bring this one leg forward, it makes sense to lean back slightly so we're able to maintain balance in the pose. Let's twist in the direction of our lifted leg, twisting a little bit towards the right, maybe only 10% effort on this twist. The breath is a little bit shallow, and just reminding ourselves it's natural for the breath to stay shallow in this pose. When you're ready, slowly come out of the pose. Let's find the breath. And if you'd like, grab a sip of water, wiggle your fingers, move the ankles around, maybe even move the knees a little bit. In your own time, let's make our way down to seated. To safely make our way towards the floor, we may want to inhale up. Exhale with a hinge from the hips, placing the hands on the thighs, walking the hands towards the floor, 1 foot back at a time, and then slowly coming around into seated position. Let's bring the legs around in front of us for butterfly pose. Touching our toes and our feet together and opening the knees. As we inhale, we lengthen through the spine. Let's open the throat. Take a moment, maybe imagine a string tied to the heart, and it pulls up, lengthening the spine towards the sky. Smile with the inhale. Breathe in joy. Let's stay here. One more big inhale. On your exhale, keep leading with the heart. Keep the throat open. Come forward. And eventually, when you feel that your body has reached its maximum expression of the stretch forward, pause at that point and drop your head. Surrender to the body. Surrender to the breath. Exhale from the throat at this point. Sighs of relief. With this gentle compression on the belly, we invite the breath to move into the low back, to the middle back, and up around your shoulders. When you're ready, slowly come up. Let's extend our left leg out in front of us. Now, if you're noticing that the hips want to shift a little bit, you could always add in just a little bit of almost like a sideways sitting position, or even take your left leg out to the side a little bit if that feels better. No matter where you are with this, your body is ultimately going to shape the practice around what it needs. We're just going to trust the body to reveal the right position for us based on what feels good. No matter where you are, think of moving your heart and your ribs towards the extended leg. So you could be really forward, you could be way out to the side, just noticing where the body wants to go and move the heart towards the extended leg. Let's flex the left foot, keeping that toe up towards the ceiling as if we're trying to push forward with that left foot. Hips are pulling back while the foot pushes forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, walk your heart towards your leg. Relax the head and the neck. Keep the right hip pushing down and back. Right hip is pushing down and back. Find your breath along the right side of the body. So you might feel the side lung just by your right hip. And then the lung under your right armpit. Notice the breath underneath the right shoulder blade. With the awareness of the breath here, walk the hands in very slow. We are in a twist with a little bit of flexion in the spine, so we're going to move very slow. When you're ready, switch legs. Right leg extended, left leg in. Of course, if there's any pain in that left knee at all, put a block or a pillow underneath the leg. Let's flex our foot. Feel that left hip pulling down and back. Turn the heart towards the leg. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, guide the body towards the floor, towards that leg and earth energy. When you feel that you've reached your maximum stretch, anchor that left hip and relax your head. Now let's shift to the breath. Breathe down into the low left hip and under the left armpit, under your left shoulder blade. Hold this stretch and listen for your breath. Inhaling through the nose, exhale from the throat. If you're noticing any tension in your low back or hips, relax your jaw. Breathe with an exaggerated exhale as if you're trying to push the exhale out. There could be a blockage energetically. It could be just tension that can come up with the breath. When you're ready, let's safely guide the body to center. Sitting tall, notice the breath, notice the energy, balanced in the hips. It's very common for this pose to feel really different from left to right. From wherever you are, let's bend both knees. Let the knees sway a little bit left and right. Let's find that center in the hips and the tailbone. When you're ready, let's take our time to lie down on our backs. We may want to roll over onto one side first, and then roll onto the back. Let's draw our knees to the chest, establishing that familiar foundation, and check in with the feet and the ankles again. Roll them out. When we began class today, we moved our ankles and our feet around without any force on the joints. Notice if anything feels different since we've introduced weight bearing. Just working out any kinks. Let's take the feet out wide and bend the knees towards your armpits or shoulders. You can hold on behind the thighs, or maybe hold on to your feet or toes. Happy baby pose. This pose might want to be still, energetically relaxing the pelvis and the hips, or the pose might want to sway a little bit. So just notice where the body wants to go with it. Let's come to our still point. Center the energy in the hips with happy baby pose. Relax the pelvis, the low back, and the groin muscles. When you're ready, slowly release the feet. Let's lower our feet down. You might want a little bit of a windshield wiper leg, checking in with the hips. Use the next minute or so to move in any natural way and prepare yourself for final relaxation and meditation. Grab your pillows and blankets. I recommend using a pillow under the head and neck, and maybe an additional pillow or blanket underneath the knees. If you have a chair, you could always pull a chair in and put your feet on top of the seat of a chair, getting the ankles higher than the heart. This is a technique we use to promote healthy circulation, healthy lymphatic drainage. So get comfortable. We'll start in just a minute. Our meditation today is short and sweet and quite effective. It's something that you can take off of the mat and practice through the entire day. Just notice your breath first. Notice, inhale, exhale, pause. Pause, just be still. Be in that space or that gap between the breaths is where you're able to experience the soul. Alternatively, it could be a space where we experience stillness or infinite possibility. In that space, watch your mind and wait for the next thought. Just wait for the next thought. Notice, what is it? What inspires the next thought? Is it something from the past? Are we thinking about the future? Is the thought inspired by the body? Is there a part of the body, a feeling or an emotion? Is there an image? There's no right or wrong in this. It's simply the practice of staying truly in the moment, the practice of true awareness of each moment that's passing, each fraction of a second. What is the next thought? And can we notice the thought without thinking? Just in that moment when we notice our thought, maybe we say to ourselves, there's that thought, and let it go. You can practice this any time in the day, any time at all. In fact, it is recommended, especially in those times when we notice that our brain is very busy, when there might just be incessant thinking or what we call the monkey mind, chitta. We simply exhale, pause, wait for the next thought. Ultimately, the objective in this meditation is to keep us present. It's not wrong to think about the past. It's not wrong to think about the future. But it's what we do in this moment that has the greatest significance for us. Inhale and hear the sound ah. Exhale, hearing the sound ta. Ah, ta. This is the word now in Sanskrit with the language of yoga. Inhale ah. Exhale ta. Ata. Now. Now is the most important moment of our life. As this concludes your practice today, you're welcome to bring the hands onto your chest, or just draw the hands in close to the body. Embrace your body. Embrace the container for existence in this moment. Let's draw in a deep breath together and let it go with a sigh. From here, we can close. Namaste, everyone. Enjoy your lovely day, everyone. Namaste.